This podcast is brought to you by the dead sexy Anime Addicts community. I've met some of you. I know that you're very sexy. And if you want to join this league of sexy men and women, you can go to our website, AAAPodcast.com/join or Patreon. You're going to get the hobby addicts. We just talked about Resident Evil 9, Expedition 33, and some messed up books that Pancake's been reading. We're going to do a hentai episode for you after the show today. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but it's going to be very inappropriate. I think I'm going to try to shock and awe Pancake again. We'll see. Maybe it'll be Boku no Pico. We'll see what happens. And the after parties where you can hear us shoot the shit with you after the show. All of this for a price that hasn't gone up in 8 years. So beat inflation, help the podcast, AAAPodcast.com/join our Patreon, and I love you long time. And now time to start the show.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at AAAPodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Welcome into the podcast, and welcome back, Mitsugi. Yes, indeed, I'm back from Denver, where it never rains, and it's always dry, and my eyes, they hurt. And I am joined on this marvelous day by a marvelous woman. Her name is Pancake. What are you doing?
I'm playing with a foam puck, but more importantly, the dad of the hour has returned to the podcast.
Oh, wow, Daddy.
Daddy Raggedy is in the fucking house. Let's go!
Right, back for Father's Day, just in time to father the entire podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here,
That's
ready
right.
to have some fun. I'm also here with Otaku Cop.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to join these wonderful people, especially the Raggedy Zaddy, who we haven't seen in a while. So it's good to be on with everyone. And I can't wait to debate myths on the merits of quality anime.
Oh, wow. We're going to talk about that. All right, listen. We're here to make your anime addiction worse, but it's a jam-packed episode today. I'm going to crack this monster. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Come on, Pancake.
I can smell the chemicals from here.
Yes, indeed. It will kill me one day, but until then I will indulge. It's a peach monster, people, because it wouldn't be the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast without a Monster energy drink. And we're live on Twitch and YouTube every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We're on all social medias that you can possibly think of, so go check us out on there. We're on Discord, so you can go to our Discord channel, AAADiscord.com, directly to the link, where we have an anime club watch party every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you get on there and check that out. Wow, well, you said, Mitch, you got a jam-packed episode today. So what is coming up on the show?
So I'm coming day and night.
That's right. We are going to do the Crunchyroll Anime Award debate, where I will be the most hated man in the room and in the world. That's right. I'm here.
Is that different than any other time?
No, it's not, but thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, just asking.
We're also going to be
It is
doing...
a high bar.
Love you.
High bar to clear.
That was so delicious and cold. Fresh from my Sonic the Hedgehog drink fridge, which is behind me. Oh, lovely. We're also going to review Solo Leveling Season 2 later, much later in the podcast, so don't go anywhere. Before we do anything, I want to thank some of our new Anime Addict supporters from the prior week. Listen, inflation's tough. Not everybody can support the show. If you can't, you can just leave a review, a good one, wherever you listen. I would appreciate that. Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, wherever you listen. But for the people that have supported us on Patreon, we got Matthew H. coming in like a fucking boss, dropping that sweet cash for the show. We got Alex T. also on Patreon, looking dead sexy, I'm sure. And I got to give a shout out to my boy, Poor Boy, on the Discord, who sent me an unbelievable gift package, and I will be sending one back as well. We're going to do the Japanese thing. We're going to do some gift exchange. So So let's see what I got here from in the mail. I got, yes indeed, a Mobile Suit Gundam Age 1 normal Earth Federation Forces Mobile Suit Gundam kit. A pretty big one. This is going to be quite a thing. I'm very excited about that. And also,
what level Gundam is that?
I'm not really sure. I don't know. Is that on the box somewhere? I'm sure I could find it.
It's supposed to be.
And also, very important. Stellar Booty came in the mail. That's right. That's right. That's right. So I got a copy of Stellar Blade in the mail for the Gooners and around the world. Well, there was no case for the game, so he made one. It's called where he wrote Stellar Booty with little peaches. So that's fantastic. So big thanks to my poor boy, for helping me out in my time of need. So, all right, guys. Well, without further ado, let's get into the first debating section of the podcast, which is coming right up here on Big News of the Week.
大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
I think we should do my big news of the week first.
We should do all of them first before the one that I wrote because it's long. So, what is your big news? You didn't even put anything on here.
Exactly.
As usual.
You're welcome.
This is nothing. Good Lord. She only gets away with this because she's my wife. My wife? Yes, very nice. How much?
Well, everybody had written so much shit. I was like, I ain't gotta do this. That's cool. So next. Thank you for your time.
All right. Well, let's start with Raggedy Doctor then, I guess, because I don't want to take up all the time.
All right. So for my big news, Ninja Kamui gets 2 more seasons. Season 2 and Season 3 were announced by Adult Swim officially at the Annecy International Animation Film Festival this past Thursday. The first of these 2 additional seasons will be called Season 2 Red Vendetta. Follows our hero Higan as he uncovers a new conspiracy of cataclysmic proportions. Of note, Sung-Hoo Park from Jujutsu Kaisen and God of High School directed the first season and will be coming back to direct this newest season. Also, some other names you may know: Takashi Okazaki from Afro Samurai, Star Wars Visions, and Batman Ninja for character design. We do this whenever there's a new announcement on an excitement scale. What are you guys at for something like this?
Let's go, Otaku Cop. You're bald and beautiful.
I mean, it's a really good-looking show. There's no denying that. So I'm all for blood, gore, and action in high definition, especially when I get to watch it on my 77-inch glorious television downstairs. So
wow.
I'm excited. It's going to look great on my backlit, Govee boxed monster television.
Retina melting. That's right. Well, that wasn't really a score, but that sounded high.
I mean, my excitement level is, I guess, give it an 8 out of 10.
Oh, wow. That's pretty high. Pancake, I'm going to guess you don't even know what this is.
I don't know what this is, but if it's cool, maybe I go back and get caught up. I don't know. I'll give it a 5.
Didn't this guy's whole family get murdered in the first season?
Oh, I'm in.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah, murdered. Yeah. I haven't seen Ninja Kamui. I probably won't watch this. I'm sure it's fine. So I'll just say 5. I mean, it's probably fine. So.
As someone who watched every single episode of Ninja Kamui, it sucks absolute ass. Do not ruin your eyeballs with this godforsaken show.
Oh my god.
1 out of 10 for the show that won Best Original Anime at the Crunchyroll Awards 2025. I wonder if that'll come up later in the podcast. Stay tuned to find out.
That's subtle foreshadowing.
That sounds like it might just be your opinion, Raggedy. All right, we'll get to that later. Oh, it's just never going to stop. Otaku Cop, how about you? What do you got going on here?
All right. This news both pains me and hurts me. But we think of all the great animes that we've always wanted to get a second season.
Yep.
Well, boys and girls, The Beginning After the End is getting a second season. Coming spring 2026. Another slideshow near you. I am just... Listen, that franchise has a very special place in my heart. The manhwa, the light novels, I've read every page, every word. And when they said it was getting animated, I told you all in Hobby Addicts, check out this series, check out the franchise, and what they have put out, it's barely above a 5 on Mal.
So it's
Because-
it's like piss out the
You don't like
asshole
eating dog
kind of
shit?
diarrhea is what you're telling
Well,
me.
I think it is not the story. It's all about the production, the animation. It is worse than Blue Lock season 2, as far as this. Like 90% of the action scenes are just still with a slight movement across the panel, and then they make some black lines to look like, hey, we're insinuating movement happened here. It's so frustrating because the manhwa is gorgeous, the books are so good, and somehow, some way, this god awful presentation is getting a second season. So I hope and pray that they will learn the lessons of the critiques from this first season, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get a little bit more animated substance in the second season. But somehow this gets a second season before 86, before No Game, No Life. Insert anime you've wanted a second season for. Somehow this, it's time for one big pile of shit, is getting a second season. I don't know.
You say this, though, Otaku. But I know you're going to watch the whole fucking thing.
Let me guess.
Of course I am.
Did this win a Crunchyroll Award too? Is that why this is on here?
No, it's it did not. I don't know how it could, but you never know. 2025's award season is less than a year away, so God only knows. Maybe they will.
Listen,
Who
Otaku
knows?
Cop, the one thing you have to look forward to is there's nowhere to go but up.
That's true.
Low bar?
Sometimes that's
You
good.
have to love a low bar.
Hey, it's at a 5, so it could go to a 3. I just want to throw that out there.
Gouda Zenny's in the 5 range, and I think that anime is a 9. So I mean, whatever. But there you go, Otaku Cop. That's right.
Are you tired of being right? Because you're right.
I'm about to be right some more. Are you prepared for that?
We'll
I would
see.
like you guys to debate me on this because I believe this may get controversial for some people, although I'm going to try to prove that it's not by debunking an article that I saw on the Discord's news channel called More Female Leads. American Anime Fans Demand Stronger Female Characters in New Crunchyroll Study. I'm going to argue that anime does not need more female leads and that this article, in fact, doesn't believe its own shit. So let's run through it here real quick. I want you guys to jump in where you have comments. I've linked probably 15 articles across this entire thesis that I've written on the document. This was an international study that was done, had 29,000 total participants aged 13 to 54. So we can just say it's pretty much people of all ages, pretty much.
So it's already not American anime fans. It's
the West. The West. is what-
okay.
Yeah, the West.
It's already wrong.
I have a question. What is the definition of a female lead in this instance?
The article says that they want to have more strong female characters.
But what does that mean?
Well, I don't know. It means whatever the article wants.
Like,
you
do they just need to be strong women, or is it well-written women? Because there's a difference there. I would rather have somebody that's leading or being in a show that has good qualities and isn't necessarily just, I'm strong, I hit stuff, but has like strong convictions and a strong characterization.
Okay, well,
so those
I
are two
agree.
different ways you could go about that conversation.
The article also says that they want to see more racially diverse protagonists, but I think we all know how that's going to go because this is Japan.
It's fucking anime.
It's Japan we're talking about. They don't. Yeah. Anyway, that's not what I'm here.
Okay, anyway.
So that's not what I'm trying to debunk, but I appreciate you jumping in. So nearly half, 44% of teen anime fans are female, and about the exact same percent said that they wanted to see more female protagonists in their shows. So this particular study also, well, they also said they want to see more adult protagonists as well, but that's besides the point. So the article discusses how during the famous anime boom of the 90s, male-targeted works such as Dragon Ball Z, Mobile Suit Gundam, and Yu Yu Hakusho were very prevalent. However, anime has now crossed the gender divide in ways that reflect more, as they say, modern viewing trends.
Why didn't they mention Sailor Moon or Inuyasha?
I'm glad you said that. I'm going to get to that.
Right there.
So the funny thing with this article is that the first thing, and I'm really going after the article here more than anything, is that they say, who wrote this article? Renee Senzatamore from CBR. So I'm here to...
that's your answer right there. It's Comic Book Resources. They hate everything.
Do you know this person?
Well, her name
I don't
is
know this
Renee.
person,
you
but
know
I
the
know
website. Well,
Comic Book Resources is notorious for hating good things.
well, they're not.
Terrible opinions.
People are having fun. Let's shit on it.
I don't know what they're hating. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. So the first thing I want to point out is that they say, anime in the 90s didn't have strong female characters or whatever, and then they cite 3 shonen and / seinen anime, which are meant for men. So it's like, and boys. So it's like, of course, they're going to have mostly like male characters. But then in the same paragraph, they literally say, however, anime is now more diverse, and they cite Apothecary Diaries, Dawn to Dawn, and Frieren as 3 examples of that. So they contradict themselves inside of their own discussion by saying that anime fans want more female characters, and then they go ahead and say, well, there are lots of them. And I have some more for you. So related to the older decades, I'd also argue that there are lots of strong female characters, and I'm going to name a few of them.
What do you mean by strong? Physically
You're
strong?
going to find out.
Or just good characters?
Well, the first one here is Sailor Moon.
Oh.
So yeah, Raggedy.
I said this list you put together has both.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Yeah, it's both. So Sailor Moon, which you already said, Pancake. Bubblegum Crisis, which you've seen. Revolutionary Girl Utena, Yona of the Dawn, Fruits Basket, Slayers, 12 Kingdoms, Ghost in the Shell, anybody? Hello. Crest of the Stars, Cardcaptor Sakura, Shido Bako, Black Lagoon, Witch Hunter, Robin, Ergo Proxy, Moribito. There's a fucking ton of...
Or on High School Host Club?
There's so many strong and like prevalent, whether it's through strength, like Revi or...
My Happy Wedding?
Well, that's more recent. I was going back to like the...
Yugi?
Yugi. Like Yu-Gi-Oh?
No, Fushigi.
Oh, Fushigi Yugi. Yeah, exactly. So I would argue that not only is anime pretty diverse now in terms of genders, but it's always been diverse. Is what I'm trying to get at. And
I want to take a second to talk about the poll itself, because I don't want to discount necessarily what the people answering the poll are saying, and I want to think more of why they're saying this. And I think it has less to do with there being not enough female representation, and with it being that those shows are not being given to people. I mean, yes, you have some of these shows that are being pushed more, especially as anime's gotten a bigger boom now. But, Crunchyroll's algorithm is not necessarily pushing these female-driven shows to the top. They're not getting big advertising budgets behind them. They're there. It's just that Crunchyroll or Netflix or whoever isn't actively trying to engage people where they are. They have the stuff. They just need to present it.
Yeah, but that comes back, I think, on the viewer a little bit, because if you want to find strong or female-led casts in an anime, they're there. But I agree, Crunchyroll, the front page is all shonen, and I think that's very typical. But shonen is a male. It literally means young men, right?
young boy.
Young boy.
Yeah.
So of course the leads in those shows are gonna be, I don't know, with a penis. They're gonna be men.
But are those shows? I mean, if what you're saying is true, are those shows? And I didn't see that in the article, by the way. I don't know if you read something here I didn't read, but
I'm just trying to figure out why. Yeah.
well, it's
like,
a good. I like your train of thought, but my question to your thought would be: is it really Crunchyroll, or is it Crunchyroll's algorithm that's pushing shows that are being watched the most by people to the top? So maybe it's the people that are driving the shows that are at the top. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, it's gonna be a combination, right? Because Crunchyroll made the algorithm, right? And if they wanted to tweak it, right, they could. If someone signed in and said, "Hey, I'm a 18-year-old female," right? Maybe they could, instead of having an algorithm for everybody, it's like, oh, we can tailor, kind of like how YouTube does it or TikTok does it, where it's more tailored. So
Yeah.
you can get shows that are supposed to quote unquote appeal to you or be marketed towards you. So they could fix it if they wanted to.
I
So
also think, well, you first, Pancake.
So I think going back to your point is this study could have just shown that Crunchyroll has an ass algorithm for pushing out anime.
I mean, like people got to take some accountability. Like if you can't say I want to see more female representation in anime and then say, oh, I can't find them because I don't know anything about anime other than what Crunchyroll throws at my face. Like I never use that shit on Crunchyroll. I go straight to the search bar and I type shit in every single time. Does anybody actually
but most services now, like Raggedy said, TikTok, Netflix, Hulu, when you log in, it asks you about your likes, dislikes, genres, and it kind of tailors a homepage for you. Whereas Crunchyroll is just like, here's some shonen. Look at these shonen. This is what's airing right now. You may be interested.
Well,
Have you heard of Solo Leveling?
That's all fine. I just don't think that's what the article. I'm not really sure that that's what the article is trying to say, and I think.
But that could be why they voted the way they did, because
no, we're not there yet. Vote.
Well, I was gonna say,
I don't want to talk about Crunchyroll Awards.
I think she means voting in the poll, because I think that the article is a bad article. They are cherry picking a data set and trying to say something that's not necessarily what is being said.
So you've read comic book resources before.
Of course.
They are notorious for that.
So they also say that Frieren was a major contender for Anime of the Year in 2025, and at the Crunchyroll Awards. And while the series ultimately lost to Solo Leveling, the resulting outcry indicates how deeply the series and its titular heroine resonated with anime fans. So I'm not sure what they're trying to say there, other than the fact that Solo Leveling won, but they think that maybe Frieren should have won because.
Let's not discuss that too deeply.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to say that like they're not talking about Crunchyroll's homepage. They're talking about anime at large. Otherwise, they wouldn't be talking about the Crunchyroll Awards in the article. I'm trying to save the rest of my outline. Basically,
so I think at the end of the day, what really is bringing a lot of this to the forefront is we are seeing more people get into anime, and when that happens, naturally the first question to a seasoned person is, well, what anime should I check out? And naturally, you kind of gravitate to the most popular ones that have ever been, and you just kind of go through this cycle again. And as more women get into anime and more people in the West get into anime, they're going to start looking for the things that interest them and start asking questions, why isn't there more? But they're just not talking to the right people, because we could easily direct them to the right stuff.
I mean, we must be talking about the laziest people on earth, because if I'm going to Crunchyroll or if I'm going to anime in general and I say, well, I'm going to try this show, right? And I try a few more and I say, oh, this just doesn't have any female characters in it. I happen to pick Hunter x Hunter and I don't know, Dragon Ball and like a few others that just don't have female characters really for the most part. And they didn't bother to say, I want a show with female characters, and then they Google it like everybody else on earth. Then like, who are we talking to? Who are these people?
I'm not sure, because
you know what I'm talking about? Like, what the fuck?
I'm even thinking on it, and shonen anime even have some really well-written female characters, not necessarily leads, but like I'm sure Raggedy would go up to bat and say that there's a lot of really well-written female characters in One Piece. There's some really well-written female characters in Naruto, Bleach. You know, Lady Tsunade is great, okay? Like, them titties. Come on.
Oh, my God. Them titties.
Just 'cause she has big titties.
That's what I'm talking about. Help me utilize the new soundboard that I just trimmed down. I've cut so much bullshit out of this soundboard. Look, I'm just going to read off some more anime here. If people can't find these shows, then they aren't worth saving.
If you are one of those who voted that there needs to be more strong female characters, here's a list of anime for you to check out.
This is like the last 6 seasons, okay? Dawn to Dawn, like, okay, Frieren, Apothecary Diaries, we already said those. How about the new Gundam show? It has a main female character. The last Gundam show had a female character. Makane, Too Many Heroines or whatever. Yakuza Fiance had a savage-ass female character. She was smart and brutal in that anime. Sign of Affection, and pretty much all the other shoujos, Alya, Blue Box, Oshinoko. I mean, Oshinoko, anybody? I mean, Bocchi the Rock. I didn't like that much, but people did. Witch Watch, the Kowloon show, I think, has a pretty good female character in it. Bang Dream is all females. Happy Marriage was literally about, I can't remember her name. God, what the hell is her fucking name? My Happy Marriage.
Miyu.
Mia, yeah,
Miyu.
Mia. She ended up being.
Good pull.
Oh shit.
Nyo, 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 nyo.
Medalist. Rom the One Half. Rom the One Half has a great female characters. Sakuna, which was so-so. Spice and Wolf, like all these shows. Like if you can't find these common ass
Bonu-chan?
fucking Bonu-chan. Look, if you can't find Bonu-chan, oh man, where's? I need a drop that's more than like.
Hey girl, you're looking so fine.
Yeah, the Milkers.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
and Mitz, you exempted one recent title that's really popular.
Yes, please.
That had multiple seasons. Beauforty.
Oh,
Beaufort.
I
With
forgot
the
about
giant
that.
shield.
Yeah.
Beauforty.
How about Reincarnated as a Sword? I love that anime. I won't. God, that's still my number one most desired sequel. All these anime, like those aren't underground titles. Rom the One Half is not an underground title. Oshinoko and Bocchi the Rock were some of the most popular anime of the last 6 quarters. I don't know. If the people don't realize that like there's so many anime with like good female characters in them, then there's just no saving these people. But
Yet we let them vote.
we do. Man, I thought you guys would disagree with me more. But I also want to make a couple comments.
I
Yeah.
think this group is just too seasoned in anime watching to agree with that, because we've all seen enough anime to be like, that's suspicious.
Okay.
That's weird.
Well, okay. So so CBR, you're stupid. So I also want to make a couple other comments. Like, first of all, look, and this would go to the diverse characters comment as well. You really can't, or maybe you shouldn't place your. This is my opinion. I don't think you should be placing your beliefs on another country's culture. Like, what would America think if Japan said, "America, you need to stop watching football"? Like, we wouldn't stop watching football, and Japan isn't going to listen to us, and they don't care what we think about their characters.
America, you should stop littering so much. America, maybe you should get some trains. America,
Yeah, exactly.
maybe you should stop.
Why do you all drive so much? Like,
Maybe
you know?
you guys should stop having shitty 7-Elevens. Maybe you should have good 7-Elevens.
And furthermore, the West doesn't make up enough of the total anime market for Japan to care. And I actually went through the trouble of looking this up. Half of all the anime industry is big now. I mean, we're talking like I think it was $22 billion a year worth of revenue globally. That's a lot. Half of that's in Japan. China and India make up almost 20%. So now you're down to 30% left. 9 of that belongs to Korea. So the West makes up at best a quarter of the global revenue. You're not going to be able to make. Japan doesn't
they say
care.
Pound sand.
They're not going to care, and they're not going to want to have their creative, inspirations changed by us wanting to have older characters, because we all know Japan is like all about middle school, because that's when they're not suffering, and they're not gonna do what we want. And I don't think people getting uppity about it is going to help anything. But I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that. But those are my thoughts.
My only thought was it would be nice to have a little more of a diversity, just to be different and shake things up and not watch the same, middle school Japanese kids going through the same slice of life rom-com bullshit. It might be nice to have like a random show about like, I don't know, like Afro Samurai, right? Just like have something like that. We can't make them do it, and it's stupid to think you can or should. But when it does come out, the way you make it happen more, if you want it to happen more, is you appreciate it, you put your money into it, and you make it, more of a popular thing.
Yeah, and back to Afro Samurai, I think when it happens organically and not forced, it comes out better. I wouldn't want to have Japan making things racially diverse or whatever just for the sake of doing it. I want there to be a good story behind it, because that's the stories I want to see.
Well, but there aren't any black people in Japan. Like, not literally, there are some, but Japan is 98.5% Japanese. So how
But even
could
like
they even tell that story? They know nothing about other people's cultures. They're so homogeneous. It's crazy.
well, they could. I mean, they could even look into folklore. I know they do that quite often. I mean, it would be cool to have like, you know, an anime based off of like Hindu gods or something, like based in India. I think that would be really cool. But somebody in Japan would need to come up with that organically instead of just saying, well, we have a show about people in India.
Well, I'm not against it, but I just don't know if they could pull it off. I mean, that's my thought, is that we've seen so many ridiculous characters. Like, think about that anime, Rising Impact, that Raggedy, I know you watched. Every character in that show that wasn't Japanese was a hilarious caricature of whatever their real culture was. And I don't know if that was intentional or if they just didn't know.
Look at All Might.
Yeah. I just don't think Japan understands other cultures, and that's why they get freaked out by foreigners so much. Like, I mean, I had kids an hour outside of Tokyo look at me like I was like a four-headed dragon when I was in Japan. Like, they've never even seen a white person. The kids. So anyway, we can move on, but.
Oh, I think Raggedy has something to say.
What do you got, Raggedy? Your mic's muted.
Yeah, you're muted, bro.
Sorry about that. I was just looking up because I couldn't remember his name, the African American or the African samurai Yasuke. Like, there is something you can do there, but again, that's something that's organic and part of the history, and it's not something that has to be forced. And if you do it that way, it hopefully would be good.
Yeah.
I always wondered about that. It's like, it seemed like an anime, like, I think, so like another good example is Space Brothers, which I don't know if you guys have seen, but it's phenomenal. And I think I thought I heard someone say it was coming back, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But you would just think that they would take the time to properly translate things or to research what it's like in Texas a little bit. But they just really did. They really don't. Like, they just don't understand it at all. And
America, so cool.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, so cool. And because everybody in that anime had like cowboy hats on, and some of them do in Texas, but not everybody. And it's like, not everybody's like got spurs on their boots. This is 2025. We're not kicking horses here with spurs on it. It's like, anyway, we can move on. But unless someone else has a comment.
I just had one closing thought, is that as far as the diversity piece goes, I think if anime wants to truly, and they're about making money, if they want to make their most money and they want to grow the industry, I think diverse stories are good, but I think the points that you hammered home, it has to be correct, it has to be organic, and they can't be ridiculous caricatures. I mean, just think about Mr. Popo in Dragon Ball. Like,
I love Mr.
God.
Popo.
I mean, everybody
Mr.
loves him, but he's
Popo.
ridiculous.
Oh, he's so cute. Don't you just want to pet him? His head is... But he's not even like a human. Like, is Mr. Popo even human? He didn't look human to me, honestly.
I mean, but you
he's
think
like
about... I'm just saying, you think about when black people in Dragon Ball appeared, they had...
I thought he was supposed to be
Just,
like
they were just
an
drawn
Indian.
so terribly.
I think he was
It's like,
supposed to be like an
let's-
Indian kind of like god thing, right?
I think so.
He lives on
Like
Comedy
based off
Day.
of something off of that. I don't
When
know.
they've tried to be diverse, they've swung and missed heavily. So if you're gonna try it, let's just try and be a little bit more accurate with those representations. That's all.
Yeah, please do that.
Yeah, I know we're beating a dead horse here, so I'm going to...
Yep.
Let's move on to the main... CBR, do better. These articles are
I
bad.
thought we had a new segment.
Oh, we do. Okay.
This is the main event of the evening.
All right, so there was some debate on the Discord. I looked it up today. I checked my comments that I made. I didn't want to miss anything because I was on fire in the gym that day. I was like, we were talking about this on, like, I think it was only a couple weeks ago, I think, like the beginning of June, right after the Crunchyroll Awards, right after Solo Leveling dominated the Crunchyroll Awards. And I am not going to lay out my argument first. I'm not going to be that guy. But I do want to lay out my thoughts on Free Rent because I want everybody to know what my thoughts are on the show. Okay?
Every time it's brought up, he hates it. And he
So-
will let you know about it.
So I gave it, I think, a 3 on the podcast when we reviewed it. I think it's fine, but I think it was very verbose and a bit slow. And I don't think that it helped that I had to watch all of it in about 3 days. That was a little tough. I mean, it's 2 cores, pretty long. And also, let's just be honest, the ball washing for Freeran never stops, and sometimes it gets a little annoying. I mean, it still has a 9.3 on my anime list, placing it a whole 0.2 of a point higher than the second best show, which is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's also the highest rated anime on Annie list. And I think that the outcry that happened when it didn't win the Crunchyroll Awards kind of further proves that. So I just do think that I don't hate Free Ren, but it gets exhausting. Like, is it really the best anime ever? I mean, maybe it must be, but anyway. But the Crunchyroll Awards, just a level set here. Solo Leveling won, I believe, 9 awards at the Crunchyroll Awards, and Free Ren didn't win anywhere near that many, including Best Anime. And people were not happy. And it made it onto our Discord, and it's all over Reddit and everywhere else you can find all these discussions. But and this is basically just the conversation about that outcome and whether or not Free Ren really is the best anime for that should have won the award or not. So I know, Raggedy, I know you have a lot of comments here, and I don't want to. I'm going to be more retorting, I think, and I'm going to let you give some of your thoughts on this.
So I do have a lot of thoughts on this, and I think it would not do us justice to ignore the elephant in the room, which that being Solo Leveling winning 9 awards, including some awards that, let's be beyond the Anime of the Year award. Of all of the ones listed, do we really think it deserved every single one of those?
Do you have a list?
It won Best Action,
I could see
Anime
that.
of the Year. It won a few of the voice actor ones. It won Best Soundtrack, which that one is probably the most ridiculous. It won Best Ending over the likes of Ranma, over the likes of Dandadan, over some of these other shows that have much better endings.
Like ending theme? We're talking about like ending video and theme song, or like the story's ending?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. And the reason that those are getting picked is because, the slack-jawed locals go, "Oh, I see Sung Jin Woo, I hit vote."
Slack-jawed locals.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Oh my god,
That's
that's
right.
like a.
I said it.
Oh, woo.
So
Bring it.
that's
Nice.
the Solo Leveling winning all of that is crazy. But the thing that's even crazier is this is Solo Leveling season fucking 1. What are we doing? Like, genuinely, what the fuck are we doing?
I think the reason is because the voting happened during season 2's airing, and it's been a long fucking time since Free Ren was airing.
I'll do you one better. It wasn't during season 2. It was the day after season 2 ended.
Yeah. So I think there was a long gap between Free Ren and everybody's like, "Oh, Shin Woo! Yeah!" Because they just got done.
Forget Solo Leveling.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the fact that there are several other shows that were also nominated. My pick would have been Dandadan, personally. But some shows that weren't even nominated, completely snubbed, like Pluto, Orb, Ranma. That we have Kaiju number 8 being nominated for Anime of the fucking Year. What clown shit is this? Even though I'm wearing the shirt.
Okay, well, I mean, like, my thought is, I don't particularly like the point about, I mean, you can argue anything you want, and all your points are valid, and I'm sure they're going to continue to be valid, even if some of them are probably going to be wrong. But if Free Ren is really the best anime ever, boy, we sure forgot about it in a fucking hurry. If all it took was 6 more months of time to pass, and we forgot all about it. No one ever forgot about Cowboy Bebop. Nobody forgot about Yu Yu Hakusho. I don't think anybody forgot about Gundam, some of the Gundam shows. But Free Ren, 6 months passed. It was just too long. No one gives a fuck. So, like, I just, it's not the greatest anime of all time if all it takes is 6 months for everyone to forget that it exists. Like, let's just be honest. I mean, do you guys see it that way, or am I off base? What?
I think Otaku Cop should take the Free Ren point more so, because he's going to be the one who's going to back that side of it. My side of it's more that the way this whole process is done is absolute trash.
It's garbage.
Well, how would you improve it?
Well, let Otaku Cop give his Free Ren defense before I get into that.
So
You have the floor, sir.
let me be clear about one thing. as much as I love Frieren, I'm wearing her. Like, I love the show. It holds a very special place in my heart. I don't even think it's the greatest anime ever. However, I think that it falls victim to what happens in awards season. I think that there are numerous examples across the Academy Awards and the Crunchyroll Awards where the best anime, the one that wins it, isn't necessarily the most deserving. But again, it's very subjective as to what makes something more deserving. To me, Solo Leveling is popcorn anime. I call it popcorn anime because it's like an Avengers movie. One of like the largest grossing film of all time. Did it win Best Picture? No.
Otaku Cop, I waxed my legs while I watched Solo Leveling, so that should tell you everything you need to know.
There's got to be a drop for this. Or we're
A waxing drop.
Yes! My queen!
I'm just saying, like, if you could put something on, like, that tells you that it is just, they're talking about plot. They're fighting.
All right, I got to step in here. I gotta interject just briefly. There is something to be said about watchability of an anime. It could be that Frieren is if I take 10 of the snootiest fucking people in the world and sit them on a panel, Solo Leveling may not win anything. It would probably still win Best Action, but maybe Dawn to Dawn might. Put 10, Siskel and Eberts up there.
Put 10 slack-jawed yokels up there.
But the question is, what makes an anime the best? What makes it the best? Because we're living in the TikTok era here. And I would argue that if I take 1 million anime fans and put them all on a panel and I ask them to say, what was your favorite show? They're going to pick the one that's the most memorable and the most watchable. And if they pick Solo Leveling, then it's the best anime. It may not be deep. It may not be the scarlet letter of anime. But 1 million people watched it and they voted and they said, this is the best show. And that's it. I'm just one man. Who am I to even say Solo Leveling is not the best anime of all time? It's not even probably. It may not even be the best anime in the season it came out in. But I'm just one man, and I would say that if all these anime fans went up there and voted, then it's a matter of watchability. And I think we're in the TikTok era. I don't think necessarily people want to read 500 pages of dialogue in a subtitled anime when that's 26 episodes long. They'd rather watch Woo Jin rip apart a bunch of monsters.
Jin Woo.
Whatever. See, I can't even remember his name. They'd rather watch a dude rip they'd rather wax their legs or play the Switch while they like watch Woo Jin Park or whatever.
Jin Woo.
Whatever. Fuck up a bunch of dudes.
Best character.
What do you think about that, Otaku Cop? I mean, is watchability a factor here? Because people you're dealing with the slack-jawed people. That's what Raggedy Doctor said. You know what I mean?
With you, I hear you, but there's a reason why Frieren is almost a full point higher on Mal than Solo Leveling. What I will say this is because of the people that love Frieren, and this is just my observations from Reddit forums, from comment threads, there are a lot of people who consumed Frieren outside of Crunchyroll. They're very anti-Crunchyroll, and they didn't vote in the Crunchyroll Awards. So I would be very interested if there was a way to collect data that would show what % of the people that pushed it on Mal to be this wonderful thing but didn't actually vote in the Crunchyroll Awards. I think your point, though, is if it is the most popular, then it's voted as such, people cared enough to vote for it. I don't have much of a leg to stand on, but I will, to my death, defend that Frieren is a better story. It has better characters. It's more emotional.
Agree.
Like,
I'm ready for season 2. Like, there's a narrative.
Every box that I ever looked for in an anime, and it deserved to win in my eyes. But I don't have statistics. I know you're a man of numbers. You like raw data. And unfortunately, I don't have those things to throw at you other than what I have read, what I have seen, and what I felt watching the two.
Taco Cap, if I can give
I
you
think-
a leg to stand on, because I do have an extra leg I can loan you. There is
Swinging dicks, baby.
No, he's
right.
Swing
an
them
orthopedic
dicks.
surgeon. I'm sure he's got a fake
come on.
leg in his closet.
Oh my.
No, I don't have time to grab it.
God.
So, I should have had the knee. I actually do have. Anyway, never mind. The point being, there is data because the people who are going to vote for the Crunchyroll Awards are people who use and watch Crunchyroll. So if you want to find out what the most popular show on Crunchyroll is, you can just go to fucking Crunchyroll and scroll to the show and see that Solo Leveling has over 800,000 people who watched and reviewed it, and see that Frieren has 250,000 people who watched and reviewed it, who gave it, by the way, the exact same score on Crunchyroll. But guess what? There's 3 times as many fucking people who watch Solo Leveling.
But why is that?
Otaku Cop just told you.
It is more
Not
popular.
everybody is using Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll is massive. There are like 4. I gotta look this up.
But the point being is, what do we want the Anime Awards to be? Do we want it
Yeah.
to just be a popularity poll? Which, even though I don't think it should be, if that's what we want, they also then need to be transparent about that, because they make it seem like there's judges' input and then there's like a fan vote, but they do not disclose how this works at all. They haven't disclosed it in about 5 years. The last time they disclosed it, it was a 70% to 30% judge to fan vote. Again, 5 years ago. There's an interview with one of the judges from this year, Glass Reflection, an AniTuber, who talks about how they gave in their nominations. There was no second round to try to actually give better nominations. That's how you end up with shit like Nokutan nominated for Best Slice of Life and Suicide Squad Isekai nominated for Best fucking Isekai over like Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2.
What?
That is
And then-
ridiculous.
And then the second round of voting was just the fan voting. It basically seems like it's just 100% fan vote, which if that's what you want to do, I mean, it's stupid, but fine. You gotta tell people.
What I heard from the last couple segments of this conversation was that on Crunchyroll, and I didn't know this, Solo Leveling has 800,000 viewers, and Frieren has 200,000. This is all people using Crunchyroll. So then I'll ask again. Why does Solo Leveling have 4 times as many viewers?
Probably because Frieren, you can also watch it on Netflix.
That is
I'm just saying, there's a you can get Frieren in other locations, and that might not, because they're like my
Don
best
Don.
friend. She doesn't have Crunchyroll. She doesn't use Crunchyroll, but she watches anime and she watches Netflix anime.
how many viewers on Crunchyroll does Don have?
200,000, I think, something around there.
And it's also on Netflix.
So we're gonna say
Hulu.
that Crunchyroll, no one watches Frieren on Crunchyroll, and
I'm not saying that. I'm saying there are some, but not as many because it's spread out. So there's a larger swath of people getting exposed to Frieren.
Well,
There's also, and I don't want to necessarily steal this because this was someone else's argument that
Are they
made
here?
this, but no, this
Well,
is
then-
someone from another.
well then go ahead.
But the point is that there is also vote splitting that happens, right? So people who are more interested in more drama, more auteur type shows, or more interested in animation as a art form, had 4 shows to decide between: Dungeon Meshi, Don to Don, Apothecary Diaries, and Frieren. The only competition Solo Leveling had for its fan base was, again, fucking Kaiju number 8.
Womp womp.
I can't
Which-
speak to any
the
of
po-
that. I don't have any data. You know, which
It's all look, this is theoretical, but my point about this is that we have to decide what the Anime Awards should be and how to make it
Yep.
be that.
well, let me make my I do have one more comment I want to make, because this is what really set me off right off the bat about this whole conversation, and that was that when Solo Leveling won, the first thing I heard people bitch about was that people were cheating. It was bots and AI and people going on and voting 5,000 times, all for solo leveling. And here's what I have to say about that.
You are coping and seething.
And I actually went on Urban Dictionary and I submitted a new entry for the word coping. And I used solo leveling versus Freyren as an example. I did that today because if we're gonna go online and say and just have a fucking meltdown because Freyren lost and it's because everyone's cheating and people aren't going to provide any data whatsoever and you know who you are across the world. There's no evidence at all to support that. Then you're just coping. Like, you can say Crunchyroll Awards are flawed. Like, we all have probably valid takes about that. I think you've already said some of that, Raggedy Doctor. But, like, people are just ridiculous. It's like, oh, Freyren lost, so it's all cheating. Like,
I'm going to be honest, though.
Maybe they cheated more Freyren and just had less people watching it.
I'm going to be honest, though. I think if Freyren won and solo leveling lost, it would still be coping and seething.
Would it?
Oh, 100%.
I mean,
these are two very different fan bases that are going to go up to bat for these anime, and they think they are the best. The Freyren people were going to be upset if solo leveling won, and they were. But if Freyren won, people would be melting the fuck down that solo leveling didn't win, especially with the new season that came out and just ended. They'd be like, how could this happen? So I think it could have gone either way, and it was going to be a freak out no matter what.
Get angry. I want you angry. Yes.
I think at the end of the day,
I'm not angry.
No, I love it though.
Solo leveling is easier to consume.
That's what I'm saying.
And you could argue that it is the new gateway anime, because I know a lot of people in my own life who the first anime they've watched was solo leveling. It got them into it. And it's much easier to watch 12 episodes of Bim Boof Bam versus 24 episodes of fleshed out slice of life. It's just...
Plus, Ficus is the most annoying character ever. I can't stand Ficus.
Ficus is like a fucking bush or something.
Solo leveling is everywhere. I remember I walked into the hospital and a resident who works like for me, under me, whatever, who doesn't really know that I do this but does know that I consume anime, randomly one day looked at me and goes, "Have you watched Solo Leveling?" It broke his heart when I told him, yeah, it's mid. I just watched tears pour out of his eyes. It was great. But the point being that, yeah, random people just have seen this show. There is something to it, which we will obviously get to later in this podcast episode. But again, that's also more season 2. This was season 1. I have to keep going back to the fact that season 1 is what's winning all these fucking awards.
Yeah. I think Solo Leveling is kind of like so entry level, kind of the way that Demon Slayer is, because I've had people that know I like anime be like, "Have you heard of this anime called Demon Slayer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right." But I feel like it's the same kind of way with Solo Leveling. Yeah, it's all right. It's bing, bam, boom, easy to watch. So I think back to Raggedy Doctor, the larger conversation is how the fuck can we make actually good polling?
We'll get to that. But I just want to wrap up my thought. First of all, I want to say I don't really know what the difference is. Looking around for HR. Oh, they're not here.
I'm here.
I don't know what the difference is between Jujutsu Kaisen and Solo Leveling. They're both anime. Like Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, all they did for the whole second season was fucking fight each other. Oh, they put a couple weak ass stories in there about the characters while they're fighting. But at the end of the day, it's still just an anime where all they did was fight, and that's what they did in Solo Leveling. But Solo Leveling, and this is just my minimum viewpoint observation, is that Solo Leveling gets shit on a lot. And Jujutsu Kaisen is just a big blowjob everywhere. There's just semen all over the floor. I have a drop somewhere. I have a drop about that somewhere. It's like water sports.
Water sports.
Yeah, water sport drop. Oh, you want to hear that?
Water sports.
Oh.
I love a water ski, so let's go S tier.
People are on the ground getting urinated on because of Jujutsu
I
Kaisen.
didn't know
but
what it
everybody
meant.
fucking shits on Solo Leveling, and first of all, I don't understand that. But also, and I want someone to even try to make that argument. Jujutsu Kaisen had a fight scene that was like 6 episodes long, but also, I'm merely in my summarization of my thought is that I am merely trying to make a case for the common man, and that is that if a bunch of people watch these anime, and a bunch of them are, whatever Raggedy Doctor said earlier. I can't remember what it was. Slack jaw,
Boobs.
whatever. There is something to be said about that. If your anime appeals to more of the common people than this other anime, well, to say that the other anime is better is kind of arrogant, in a way. Now, maybe the polling's wrong, but if 15 people, if I poll 100 people and 75 of them thought it was easier to watch Solo Leveling and it was more entertaining, that's the only case I'm really trying to make. It's just the case for the common man, basically. I don't think either of them are the best.
I did throw a quote here in the doc that I would like to read from someone else who has been doing this for way longer than me. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
I find the Crunchyroll Awards to be a little cringe. I wonder why you have an award show when the same anime wins absolutely everything. It seems a tad odd to have one anime win it all. Our listenership is obviously a little more well-spoken as far as watching anime that I guess the Crunchyroll fanbase are. I wonder why people even give a fuck about the award show when it's such a ridiculous result.
Well, I agree with you.
And scene.
You also agree. You also agree with yourself because that is you from a year ago talking about Jujutsu Kaisen winning last year.
Okay.
Well,
at least I'm consistent. That's fucking hilarious.
It's just funny because he's just happy solo leveling, and he's batting for solo leveling so hard because he hates Frieren so
I don't hate
much.
it. I don't hate Frieren.
Doesn't love it.
I just don't love it. And I've been, challenged 43 times about Frieren. I'm sorry.
It's just not your vibe, and
it's
that's
just
okay.
an anime
That's what I
where,
said.
Oh my god, elves live a long time. I've seen it in 400 elf things.
I know, but
it happens everywhere. Every time an elf shows
I get
up,
it's
I'm
just
400
not your
years
flavor.
old.
It's not your flavor. It is.
It's not your jam, and
It's
that's
your
okay.
green grapes.
I don't
and
hate
I
it.
love green grapes.
I don't
and that's
hate it.
okay.
I don't hate. You don't like olives either. I think that's ridiculous.
See, you like
No,
olives. I like
olives are the
green
devil's
grapes.
fruit.
Stop.
Yeah, they're angry grapes. I don't want them.
They're disgusting.
Get them out of my face. I will fight you.
Oh my god, olives. I'll eat a whole bowl of green olives.
Okay, you go over there with your green olives. Otaku Cop and I will stay over here with
Raggedy Doctor.
Frieren and some green grapes. All right?
Are you olives or no olives? You're on
All
mute.
right. So he can stay with me and Otaku Cop, and you can just
He
stay
didn't
over
answer me.
there.
I need to hear the answer.
He said no olives. I could
No
read his lips.
I need to hear his voice. We have an audio based audience.
I will speak for
They're
him.
not lip reading. Okay, how can we improve the Crunchyroll Awards?
I think there are 2 ways to improve the Crunchyroll.
Let's
Awards.
vote on it. We'll vote for them.
Both of them are using award shows that already exist. One is the way the Reddit does it, the Anime Reddit Awards, where they give the fan vote and the judge vote separately. So you can have your pretentious list and you can have your fan list. You get both of them. That's one way, which is, I think, my preferred way. The other option would be more like what the Game Awards does, where it's 90% judges, 10% fans, because, again, it kind of eliminates some of the issues with having just, people who've seen 3 anime vote for the best anime of the year. Those are the 2 best options, but the main thing is we really just need visibility and transparency.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on that before I
agree.
talk?
I mean, bruh, let's do it the first way. That makes way more fucking sense. Let's go.
Let's go, she said.
Let's send an email to Crunchyroll and say, we can manage the voting for you from now on. Give us access. We'll make this not suck ass. Thanks.
And in the interest of transparency, give me that raw data. How many people voted for this? How many people voted for this? And what weight did you give to those numbers? Let me see how you came to this conclusion.
I'd like to go a step further. First of all, I think that the judges versus The judges versus the viewers is a better option because I don't like the idea of giving too much weight to the judges because then the viewers don't matter. And Crunchyroll would never agree to that because they're just trying to get money off clicks.
¿Por qué no los dos?
It's just too much. It's too verbose. But what I would like to do is let's let people vote and let's let the judges vote, and we'll display both of them simultaneously who they picked, right? But I think that in order to avoid anime getting washed out by, for example, it's like, oh, which of these is your favorite RPG character? And you've got two of them from Sephiroth and Cloud from Final Fantasy in there.
Yeah, every time.
Every time. And then you've got, I don't know, I'm trying to think of another RPG character off the top of my head that's like, I don't know, Dart from Legend of Dragoon. And it's like, Dart could be the amazing character. The best character on that list could be Cloud. But they cannibalize each other's vote until Dart wins. And you're like, how the fuck did that happen? Well, why don't we do a couple rounds of voting where we slice off a few of them every time, and then you end up voting until you're down to 2, and then you vote.
Ranked choice voting.
I think that's how 100%. It needs to be done. And then do it for the viewers and the judges.
Maybe we need to do that for the AAA podcast voting for next year.
For what?
For the Oscars.
Like do
for the waifu wars?
And...
no, for the Oscars.
And I would think Crunchyroll would love this because it actually drags the voting out a little bit so that they can get even more clicks, which is all they care about. And that would be a much fairer way to do it. I mean, that way you don't have two of the artsy shows killing each other off, in a 3-way vote against Solo Leveling. Eventually you end up with just Solo Leveling and just Dungeon Meshi, and then you find out who's really the best. I think that's how you do it.
Maybe it needs to be in quadrants based off of genre, and then it goes down.
What do you think of Dog Cop? You haven't weighed in.
Outside of wanting the exposure to the numbers, I think that your suggestion, I didn't even think about that, but I think that's a great idea. And like you said, it would give them more clicks, more attention. It would drag out the process even more, create more debate, more people talking, more people watching. But I would love to see it where it gets whittled down over time, because I think that gives us a more accurate representation of what should be truly on the chopping block as the winner of a specific category. And
I think the time frame needs to be improved because I think it's dumb.
Yes.
The season, like how they cut off and all of that shit.
Okay.
Like at the end, like it has to be end in the year instead of it airing, because I think that also hurt Free Ren because that came out and started airing in like 2023. It's 2025 now.
Yeah, Free Ren started at the end of September 2023.
That's fucking cuckoo bananas, bruh.
Well, it's because it arguably should have been in the 2024 Anime Awards. But
that's what I'm saying.
Because it was 2 cores that got dragged out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They need to say when
so you're saying
the cutoff. It should be based on when it started, because as the year goes by, so many other things are going to come out before the voting even happens.
I mean, but then you might end up with a show that has no ending yet. Like, oh, I didn't see the ending. How can I vote for it? I don't know. I get what you're saying. It is a long time did pass. Although I think that if a show's really that great, you will remember it. But any other comments?
Nope. Yeah. Don't watch Ninja Kamui, even though it won the best original anime.
Oh man. All right. Okay. All right, let's go to our news break.
Yeah, I need to micturate. Let's get on this.
Nice.
Before we do have an in-show weekly trivia question. In Solo Leveling, the elixir of life is the cure-all potion Sung Jin-woo is trying to craft to save his mother. What is the recipe? Find out after the break.
When we come back, we have a new segment for you, mailbags, and a review of Solo Leveling. Stay tuned, and we'll be back in a minute. And Anime Addicts? Mitsugi is here. I'm bringing you that sweet taste of anime news. We get started here with a strange story out of Japan. An Indian man in Japan is arrested on charges of using curry spices as weapons in a robbery attempt. So it looks like an Indian resident of Japan was arrested for using the spices that are used in Indian cooking as a weapon. 52-year-old Japanese man was walking on the street in the town of Yoshikawa, Saitama Prefecture, which is not too far from Tokyo. The attackers smeared powdered cooking spices, some kind of curry, according to reports, on the man's face and into his eyes and attempted to blind and incapacitate him. The victim did fight back, though, and hung onto his bag for dear life. I think it was a robbery attempt here, as they're saying in the article. So, very strange plan. It looks like you just never know what kind of a weapon will be used in a crime in Japan when there's no guns that are legal. Not that would make it better, but definitely don't expect curry spices. Next up, Yoroiden Samurai Troopers is going to be getting a sequel announced for the winter of 2026. So you won't have to wait too long, but just a little bit here. Director Yoichi Fujita of Gintama, and done by Studio Sunrise, so you know it's going to have some pretty sweet mech designs. This was announced at the talk show event on television titled Yoroi Shinden Samurai Troopers, which came out on Wednesday. So this, produced by Studio Sunrise, the original 39-episode TV anime aired clear back in the 80s. So this thing has been gone for quite a while, 1988 to 1989, on a 3-episode OVA. Boy, those were the days. Released with the final 5-episode OVA coming out in 1991. So at long last, Samurai Troop, for those of you that remember the classics. Next up, the 2nd and 3rd season of Ninja Kamui are both announced. On Adult Swim, it was announced during their studio focus stage at the Annecy Festival that this is indeed going to be getting more content. Produced by E&H Production, the 13-episode anime began airing in February of 2024, and Adult Swim did stream the anime with English subtitles and also a dub in the United States. It's about an average man, Joe Logan, who leads a peaceful life in the countryside with his wife and child. However, the family have actually assumed false identities to escape Joe's past as a fearsome ninja assassin. And despite a string of high-profile murders of his former peers, Joe is sure that his new life is secure until his family is slaughtered by members of his former clan. So, very violent and gritty. You're going to have to watch out. I'm sure they're going to be putting this 2nd and 3rd season also on Adult Swim as well. Finally, Nintendo Switch 2, as I'm sure a lot of you probably have already purchased it, has set a new record by enjoying the biggest launch week of any game's hardware in U.S. history. The record, previously held by the PS4, which I was not aware of, was broken by Nintendo's console, which sold 1.1 million Nintendo Switches in its first week in the U.S., which, to be honest with you, doesn't seem like that big of a number. I feel like Christmas does more than that. I'm not 100% sure. Almost 80% of players who purchased a Nintendo Switch 2 also purchased Mario Kart World, probably because there's not much else, either as a standalone physical game or as part of the hardware bundle, which included the game itself. And according to Sursana data, the 3 biggest selling physical games during the launch were, as I just said, Mario Kart World, Cyberpunk 2077, which came out like 5 years ago, and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which also came out previously. So regardless, big success for Nintendo, and also, just besides the point, a big launch in Japan as well. This was Mitsugi, and this was your anime news break, and now time to get back to the podcast.
When it explodes, it like fills up.
Well, Anime Addicts, we ask you every week, but for those of you that would like to support the podcast, costs have been rising. Inflation is pretty rough. We've never really increased the price of our subscription tiers for our extra content. And unfortunately, and for an unknown reason, revenues have been down as of late. So if you want to help out the podcast, listen, you're going to get our Hobby Addicts, where we talk about a lot of video games. This is where you're going to hear us talk about the games that we play in our private time. Today I talked about Resident Evil 9 Requiem and also Expedition 33, and we talked about so much stuff as well. And also our hentai episodes where we do watch parties of, the juicy stuff and get into other sorts of articles and stories about hentai as well. It's super entertaining. And also our after parties where we just kind of chill out with you and talk for a little extra after the podcast. We've never increased our prices for this stuff in something like 8 years now, which I assume no one else does. So if you want to help out the podcast, keep this thing actually running, you can get all of that extra content as a gift over at patreon.com or through our website, AAAPodcast.com/join. It's pretty much up to you to keep this podcast running. So anything you can do to support the show is greatly appreciated. Again, that's patreon.com or our website, AAAPodcast.com/join.
And now, great moments in Anime Addicts Anonymous history.
Well, they were naked. They were completely naked.
Yeah, completely
the
naked.
show still is too cowardly to hang dong.
No one hangs dong.
Someone needs to do
Come
it.
on, mate. Come
if
on.
there was
Wait,
any show,
doesn't Dragon Ball hang dong?
The little baby dick.
you're only allowed to show penises if it's babies, which is, I hate that I have to say that.
Go get your manga of Dragon Ball, Mason. Let's flip to a page, see if it's got
Page
the-
9, what was it? Is that what we determined it was?
Something
I
like
can't
that.
remember.
He didn't waste any time. He's like, it's been a whole 6 pages. We have not shown penis.
Yeah, we gotta slap that on there.
We
Put
must
that
show
on the
this.
Macy's Day Parade.
It's dragging on the ground. It's destroying traffic. Cars are flipped
Jeez,
over.
okay.
Goku's giant schlong.
Moving on.
I have a question. When Goku transforms into a blue-haired Goku, do the carpets still match the drapes?
Doesn't his eyebrows change as well? His eyebrow color?
Yeah, probably.
Then I can think most definitely that the carpet has changed.
There you have it. Welcome back to the podcast.
I have a question.
Yes.
Which form is it that Goku loses his eyebrows?
3.
So
Super Saiyan 3.
does that mean he has no carpet? It just
No carpet.
goes away?
It's hardwood. It's hardwood. Just like his penis.
Is Super Saiyan 4 just like even more carpet?
That's like that like 70s like 4-inch shag carpet.
Oh my god.
Yeah. They got like animals living in it. Exactly. Yeah. Man. In solo leveling, the elixir of life is the cure-all potion Sung Jin Woo is trying to craft to save his mother. What is the recipe? A world tree fragment, a spring water from Echo Forest, and purified blood of the demon monarch. There you have it. Very difficult to obtain. That was a cat. Can you pick the cat up? Will he allow that?
Probably not.
Is he gonna run away?
He ran away.
He ran away. Ow.
He was
All
doing
right.
the thing you taught him to do, which you shouldn't have taught him to do because it's a bad practice.
Yeah, but he comes and visits me in my office when he does it, and he's so cute.
Yeah, but you're feeding him chicken.
Of course. What else would I feed the cat?
But now he begs at the table.
But he's so cute. All right, well, speaking of cute or eating at the table, we have a new segment for you featuring Raggedy Doctor. Let's let it rip.
Last time on
Presented by Shonen Showdown. Right, we have a new segment presented by the side podcast thing, episodes, whatever you want to call it, that me and Lady Emery do called Shonen Showdown. Make sure you check that out, where we're going to talk to you about some of the upcoming shonen that every season's going to have, give you a little bit of a what happened last time. Basically think of it as trying to tell your friend, hey, you remember this show? It's a little fuzzy. It's been a while. Here, let me give you some details. So I'm talking about Don Da Don for our first segment. This one came back out in fall of 2024. Is coming back to us July 3rd, 2025, so pretty soon. You can watch it on Crunchyroll and Netflix. It's done by Science Saru. Sorry about that. And so what happened last time? Okarun and Momo discover both aliens and yokai are real. After a very close encounter with a banana on the line, Okarun has got to run fast, while Momo is there to lend him a helping hand, if you know what I mean, while he looks for some precious jewels. The couple won't be doing it alone, as they got some help from a pair of very weird grandmas. After bawling your eyes out, or at least I did, Ira will dance her way into your heart. Finally, we end the season with a visit from an old childhood friend of Momo's, one Sun Gigi Woo, because it's still Alex Lee doing the dub for both. That's right, I'm still plugging dubs. Stick tuned for the rest of the review for that. The series did end with a bit of a smash cut, in case you forgot, where we have Momo left in some crocodile-infested water, and Okarun is going to be eye to eye with his next demonic villain. I am super pumped. I am super excited, and I hope you guys are too.
I'm definitely pumped. I'm excited. It's a fun time. You did forget to mention our milk bleeding friend, though.
That's true. He
Where the fuck was that, bro?
Look, he may come back. I don't want to give too many spoilers away. Try to leave it some things up to the imagination.
He was my favorite character.
He was great. He was pretty fun.
Yeah, there are other shonens too coming out next season, but
You'll hear about that next week when Lady Emery's on, so stay tuned.
yeah, you guys are going to want to check out Shonen Showdown as well. We release it one time per month. I have an episode I need to put out for June still. That'll happen this coming week. So look out for Shonen Showdown when that drops on your podcast feed. All right, and now it's time for, yes, mailbags.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime. Anime. Anime.
Mailbag. All right, if you want to leave a mailbag, AAAPodcast.com/mailbag. You can leave hentai mailbags, which we do and which we love. Anime confessionals about your deepest, darkest, inappropriate secrets, and I'll have to read them on the podcast for you and maybe condemn you to anime hell. You can leave Shark Tanks. You can leave topic requests. You can leave all sorts of things at AAAPodcast.com/mailbag. Otaku Cop, would you like to read this mailbag?
I would love to. So this submission comes from an unknown. They didn't put their name on it, but
Remember to do that, folks. Come on.
We want to give you credit for the question, but we appreciate it nonetheless. So the question says, "Hey guys, love the podcast, and we love you for loving the podcast. Recently got into reading webtoons and was wondering what adaptions you would like to see in the future from ones you've read or maybe just heard of. Love the show. Keep up the great work. P.S." Do I have to read this part?
He did write it.
Mitsugi
Say
is
it.
always.
Oh my god! I take it back.
True? Is that true?
No, because I'm always right. And usually he's the one that said, "Oh, you were right. I'm so sorry."
I wonder if Mitz submitted this himself.
No, I would not do that.
All right, so I will start this mailbag. I am a huge fan of Mage and Demon Queen. It is a very popular Yuri, and it isn't Yuri bait. It's full-on Yuri, and it is a story of a very talented mage and a demon queen. Shocker, the title is accurate. But it is a comedy. It is definitely rom-com with some serious notes tossed in, but it leans heavily into the comedy and the romance. And it is, I don't want to spoil it, but it is their love story. And it is funny, it is wholesome, and it's based in a world with magic and dragons and demons, and I can't recommend it enough. So if you can download webtoons, you should definitely check out Mage and Demon Queen.
I got nothing. Who's next?
I can go next. I would love anime adaptation of the beginning after the end. I hear it's supposed to be pretty good. Womp womp. But my actual answer for this is Lore Olympus. I would kill for a Lore Olympus anime. It was, I think, for a while the most popular thing on Webtoon. It is basically a retelling of the Hades and Persephone story with sort of a modern kind of twist. It's still the gods doing their godly things, but the god realm Olympus is more in line with what you'd expect from modern day. There's cars, there's computers, there's telephones, things like that. It's a much longer story than the original myth. It is perfect shoujo bait. Speaking of, our earlier conversation about maybe some more diversity of storytelling, some strong female characters, both in the sense that Persephone is a powerful god and also a very powerful character in the sense that she's very well written. I think that's an easy slam dunk.
I agree. I love Lore Olympus. Yeah. I have the physical volumes. I loved it so much. So I think there were rumblings that there was supposed to be a Netflix series coming out, but that was while it was still coming out, and I don't know if it's since been dropped. I don't know what's happened. But but maybe someday we'll get it. I put down, of course, Lore Olympus, one of my faves. I also put down Midnight Poppyland, which follows a girl moving to a new city, and she gets mixed up with some Yakuza types, and chaos ensues. And it's a really fun ride. It's a little bit on the shoujo side of things, and again, strong female leads. She's not necessarily strong as in strength, but she is a strong character, and she's great. I love Poppy. Another one is Freaking Romance, which is just another popcorn shoujo webtoon about a Korean pop idol and a girl moving into an apartment to get away from her family. And there's alternate dimensions, so they're living in the same apartment, but they can't see or touch each other, and chaos ensues that way. It's pretty fun, so I recommend pick that up, and I'd love to see an anime adaptation of it. I think it would be great.
It's a total blind spot for me. I just know so little about webtoons, and
online manga type stuff.
Yeah, I just totally just out of that loop. So I'm glad you guys are, dialed in enough to answer a mailbag like this that I didn't write, by the way. So, but I agree with their opinion, obviously.
I think you might have doctored it though.
I don't recall doing that. Maybe maybe we'll find out who wrote that mailbag, and they will confirm that they just love Pope Mitsugi. Sometimes the Pope is. I think I should have been chosen as the new Pope personally, but I'm not qualified. I guess something about
Celibacy.
Easily cancelable. Says a lot of shit, gets in a lot of whatever. All right. Solo Leveling Season 2. At long last, we have reached the final section of this jam-packed podcast, and we're going to discuss here this second season that came out in the winter of 2025. I watched it on Crunchyroll. We'll get to whether or not we watched it subbed or dubbed in a minute, but the synopsis obviously is more of the same from Solo Leveling as it picks up literally right where the show leaves off. With, I would say, elevated expectations of animation quality and, an expectation of just continuing great action. Done by A1 Pictures. It's based, of course, on a manhwa. I'm going to say Pancake, because you actually watched a very, very, what a trooper. Watched both seasons this week. So, what were your expectations going into season 2 after you watched the first season?
More of the same shit.
Wow.
Honestly. I was just like, okay, he's gonna keep getting strong and fight things, I guess. And have no other fucking characters that mean a fuck in this whole show. Cool.
Wow.
That was my
It
expectation.
was a 2 F-bomb synopsis from Pancake.
Next.
I would love some pancakes. It just sounds really...
We have Kodiak cakes downstairs. We have that for dessert.
We should totally make the... Yeah, we should do... That's probably better than going to like IHOP or Waffle House. Although I do
We
love...
could go to Waffle House.
Not unless it's midnight. Let's see. Otaku Cop. Expectations going into the second season.
You can just call me that Kylo Ren meme where he's just standing in front of the console going, more! More! I just like everybody else, I was expecting more fights, more power-ups, progression of the story. I have read it to its completion, so I was interested to see how far they would go with it.
Okay. And lastly, other than myself, Raggedy, what do you think?
So, more solo, more leveling. It's in the title. That's what I expected. I know that I was giving it a little bit of a hard time during the earlier segment, but when I'm a shonen head at heart, heart at head, whatever you want to call it. When it comes to stuff like this, hey, my jaw can slack down with the best of them. Can fit in a whole boobie, just like Ninja Scroll when it comes to shows like this.
I tried that. Right. I tried that whole booby thing not long ago. Very difficult. But I will say I am playing on hard mode. So yeah, there you go, Pancake. Yeah, she give me her ahegao face. Let's see it.
No, I'm not. I was rolling my eyes at you, motherfucker.
All right.
You just
Need to
weren't
watch
trying
more
hard enough.
Solo Leveling.
So I watched this entire season in a sauna at Hotworks while on the stationary bike. And it is watched in a series of segments that are only as long as the iPhone can survive in the sauna before it overheats, which I will tell you happens to be about exactly the length of one anime episode. And you know, the ending of the first season of Solo Leveling has an unbelievable fucking fight scene in it with that Dark Knight, whatever I can't remember what his name is.
Egress.
Egress, thank you. And I'm thinking this is hopefully a sign of things to come in the second season, because that was just a total blow your load money shot at the end of that first season, in my opinion. And you know, so I expected essentially more of the same, but I thought I did expect an increase in animation quality to a large extent, not only because the first season was such a hit, so they can justify putting more into it, but also just because that's kind of where they left us at the end of the first season. So back to Pancake. Would you recommend Solo Leveling? What do you think?
I would recommend it to anybody that likes shonen. I think it's an easy watch. There's dub. It's pretty mindless. Like I said, I watched part of it while you were out of town. I watched season 1 while you were out of town, and then I watched the other bits of it basically while I waxed my legs.
While
and
you're
did
waxing
other
your
stuff.
bits?
It's just my legs. I can't do my bits, but waxed my legs, watched it, took a shower, watched it, because you don't really have to have your eyes on the screen all the time. So I'd recommend it. It's just an easy little... That was fighting. That was Jean Woo being OP.
Did you watch the dub or did you watch the sub?
I cannot speak the Japanesey fluently, so it was dubbed.
Wow. Okay. Well, you can read, can't you?
I didn't want to stare at it the whole time.
You wanted to play Stardew Valley.
I played Stardew Valley while I watched
I understand. I understand. Stardew Valley is it's unbelievably timeless. All right, we'll go in the same order. To one bald beautiful man to another even more beautiful man. Taku Cop.
Oh,
what do you think?
I watched it subbed. Like
oh my god!
Womp womp. Boo!
Oh my
tomato,
god.
tomato, tomato.
Absolutely recommend. It was absolutely an easy recommend. This season in particular really mastered the art of the cliffhanger. There are multiple episodes where you want to see what happens next, and it cuts to the end, and you're just like, motherfucker. And I had to wait a week. So it did its job. It's a fun watch. I called it popcorn anime. I'll call it popcorn anime again. Yeah, it's easy. 100% recommend.
I'm looking forward to having some popcorn. We got to find another horror movie and have some popcorn. All right, we have one sub, one dub. Raggedy Doctor, as if I have to ask. Tell me about it here.
The Dub Daddy in the house. So Solo Leveling is the logical conclusion of the video gamification of anime for all the good and for all the bad that's worth. It is incredibly easy to recommend this, though, across the board. It's very entertaining. It's very bingeable. It's fun. It keeps you kind of sucked in, like Otaku Cop said. If you are not watching the dub, you are straight up watching an inferior product. You are getting a worse show specifically with Solo Leveling. Alex Lee, the voice actor for Sung Jin Woo, and Caitlin Glass, the ADR director, do a fantastic job, not just with, doing their parts, but even being far more faithful to the original manhwa than the sub has been. That is, of all the awards that Solo Leveling won, Alex Lee's is probably the most deserved.
So you've watched both?
I have seen
so you've dabbled.
enough of both and had someone read the subtitles for me, since we know I can't do that for myself. So I have compared. There are notes, which we'll get into once we get to spoilers of some of the specifics. And even for the haters out there, honestly, this is the biggest anime on the planet. Your hate should be informed. Everyone should watch this.
Based. I also watched Solo Leveling, and this...
You did? You also watched Solo Leveling? I'm
Sorry,
so
thank
glad
you.
that you
Yes,
watched
thank
it.
you very much.
Thank God.
Wow. Okay. Yes, that was fair. I also watched Solo Leveling dubbed because I'm lazy. So, I'll watch subs when I have to, but I'd rather watch the dub because I'm lazy, and I like to watch anime when I'm on the stationary bike. I like to watch it when I'm on the treadmill, when I'm laying in bed, and I'd rather not have to strain to read in the dark, or while I'm bouncing up and down on a treadmill or whatever. Solo Leveling has achieved for another. I don't know if this is really an isekai or not. I guess it's just like a fantasy world.
It feels like an isekai.
It does, but I don't think it technically is.
I can't believe it's not isekai.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, delicious.
As much isekai as Sword Art Online is. Same idea.
Yeah, exactly. I think this anime has achieved pretty much everything that these other sort of bland failures have not achieved. It sticks out like a sore thumb amongst all of these other black-haired protagonists leveling up sort of isekai type anime. Not only is the animation, not only did it live up to the expectations I had at least, and I'm not an auteur for animation, but I mean, come on, it was the action scenes are excellent, but I really think that it's just achieved a level of entertainment that makes it really tough to put down, and that makes those cliffhangers so painful. I was behind for most of it. I think I got to watch maybe 8 episodes all at once, which was nice, which helped with the cliffhanger. But man, it does make you just click next on the play button right away. To be honest, and I'm really excited.
Are they really cliffhangers though?
Well, that's a good point. We can talk about that. I think that it did touch some emotional heartstrings a little there with his mother, which we'll also talk about, which the show didn't really have that before. It was mostly just getting acclimated to things in the first season. And now that, we'll just say, I don't think this is much of a spoiler to say that now that I think his goals are going to change, it's going to be really interesting to see where the series goes as we progress. I know we probably aren't going to end up reviewing season 3 on the podcast because we tend to not do season 3s, but I will be watching season 3, and I think that anybody who wants to be informed about anime, or anybody who likes shonen or action, which is a lot of people, are going to really like Solo Leveling. There's not much to not like, and I really appreciated I'm never going to get his name right. I have such a hard time with Korean names. Jin Woo. Jin Woo could have been a perverted son of a bitch in this anime, and he really isn't. Not only does he protect weaker people, but he's really just trying to help his family. I don't think he had a single like ecchi moment. He isn't particularly an asshole. He might be a little bland, but he is just a decent person, which makes him a little more likable, despite being way overpowered. One thing I will say about this anime is that I wish I wish that the power creep wasn't so fast. If you think about Dragon Ball or one of these, or Hunter x Hunter, or even Yu Yu Hakusho, it takes quite a long time for these characters to get a lot stronger. And I think that in this anime, once he was able to absorb Igris or whatever, his power went up so fast. It was like it was like Bitcoin going through the roof, honestly. And to me, I like the journey, and I was okay watching 100 episodes of this to get him there. But for some reason, they wanted to really just put the pedal on the floor and just get him. Now he's at God level, essentially, and we'll see where that goes. They're going to have to find a way to challenge him, or it's not going to be interesting at all. Any other thoughts before we go to spoilers?
Just that I did watch the dub as well, and even though I am a self-professed lover of the sub, I will acknowledge what Raggedy Doctor said. This is one of the best English dubbings that I have watched.
Wow.
So either way you check it out, you're going to enjoy it.
And I want to say I do prefer the conversation to mostly take place in the spoiler-free section, because people will just tune out once we go to the spoiler section. So if any of you guys have any more discussion points you want to talk about, I think we should do it here.
I don't think there's major spoilers in this show. There's not much to spoil.
I mean, there's a few things that I'd keep the spoilers just to be safe. That being said, the animation, I think there's a difference between the action choreography and the animation, they are different. And I think that the show is much better at the action choreography than it is at the animation. Not that the animation is bad. It is quite good, but they do a lot of tricks that are there to make it look better than it really is. In one of the later fights, there's a lot of like color flashing, and it's supposed to look really cool, but it's a way to save on more, detailed animation. A lot of the backgrounds, if you look, there is going to be, some of that ugly CGI of like, some of the characters kind of like doing the bob and weave and punch in the background. So it's not as clean as it could be, but the action choreography is good enough to distract you from that.
I mean, I guess I can agree. I'm very focused on the foreground, and I'm very focused on, I think the choreography is big, and because it's a fighting anime. So yeah, the fight choreography is really excellent, and but I want to touch on something that Pancake said earlier. Pancake made a comment that there weren't really any cliffhangers, and I want her to elaborate on that.
I feel as if there's not much cliffhangers because you always know Jin Woo is gonna get strong and kill it, and everything will be fine. It is.
So you're saying it's predictable?
It's super predictable. It's like, oh, he gonna figure it out. He gonna summon guys and he gonna kill them.
In fact, it's so predictable. You can predict exactly how hard each fight is going to be by the number of people watching him. The more he can aura farm, the easier the fight is going to be for him.
I mean, I think that, well, you never know. I mean, honestly, I think that they were, personally, I thought there were a couple times in this season where I wasn't 100% sure he was going to walk away so unscathed. I mean, particularly one of those was, he was in the Demon Castle and he had that like a cute girl with him, and he was really losing.
One character to watch him, not enough aura farming available. Hardest fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he barely made it out of that.
You have 20 people watching him, easy slam dunk fight.
Do you think it's possible that they're setting it up for a future event where he's like, oh, he just wins every time, same method, no problem? I mean, how are we going to feel if he just fucking loses his arms or gets straight up murked in some fight? Are you going to be shocked?
He can get his arms back because the healers can just heal arms back on him.
Well, what if he dies and you don't expect it and you're 100% sure he's going to live?
He ain't going to die.
Well, I mean, I don't know the story. It could happen. Characters die.
Look, he's not going to die. It's not in the nature of this kind of show. But you can make him lose. And that's the thing that needs to happen in future seasons is he has to lose in a meaningful way. Not necessarily losing an arm or dying or whatever, but there has to be something he's trying to do that he fails at. And otherwise it's just going to become the standard, he just always wins, always wins, always wins.
Yep. He's got to have some setbacks or else it's, what are we doing?
Is he going to have like the, I don't know, the injured baseball pitcher, event, or the team that starts losing and has to catch up, or one of these?
Maybe he'll hit a ceiling.
You mean like in his power?
Literally or figuratively?
Oh, maybe both.
I just picture just like a thud.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know.
I don't know. I have some more thoughts. So my other thought. So this anime is great, honestly, and I'm gonna give it a high score. I do have. It's funny how the concept of like levels and rankings is so addictive. It's always been addictive, and I don't know what it is about human psychology that makes it like that. But if you think about it, Dragon Ball really just stuck with that whole power level concept. I mean, clear up until, I guess, in Dragon Ball Z, when did they stop talking about power levels? Was it?
Never. They never stopped talking about it.
I don't recall them really.
I think it was once they got to Boo, it was really where they're kind of the talk of the power levels.
I don't recall Cell ever saying, like, my power level's 50 million or something like that. I mean,
yeah, you're right about that. It was more just the evolution at that point. I guess maybe it was in the Android saga is when it stopped.
I thought it was in Frieza. Like Frieza's talking about his power level's 1,000,000 or whatever, but it doesn't matter. I mean, everyone's always trying to estimate the power level. And in this anime, the ranking system to me is very, for some reason, it's just fascinating. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my like monkey brain, but I love oh my God, it's an A rank dungeon. Oh, this guy's only a B rank. He can't, you know what I mean? Like Raggedy, you look like you have something to say, but I mean,
Yeah.
do you feel that too?
I agree, and I think that this show is very smart about how it does that because it gives you two separate systems to follow. It gives you like the world building. This is the A rank dungeon. These are S ranks. These are what everyone else knows. And then you have Sung Jin Woo's completely separate levels that do not necessarily directly translate. So you see them, you know he's level whatever 60, right? But you don't actually know what that means. You know that number's going up. You don't know what that translates over to. So when he gets into an A rank dungeon, now I can actually see what all this progress he has made actually means, as opposed to it just being this number is bigger than that number.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Now that I said something nice, I'm going to say something that I think is a criticism. I think this anime needs more characters in it. I know that they killed a lot of characters throughout these 24 episodes, with probably like a dozen or maybe even 15 minor characters have died. The best of which is watching that guy get evaporated right out of his shoes, and like early on, that was my favorite. But I think that this anime doesn't have a lot of other characters to fall back on because of two things. One, they keep killing them. And two, he's been trying to keep his powers a secret for so long that I just feel like he hasn't really been involving too many other characters. And it is solo leveling, but I can't help but think that this anime needs more characters, and I wonder if Gene will have to lean on some other people later on in order to overcome.
He needs to, or I think with the fighting and him never losing, it's just going to be like, okay.
Yeah, like when they go to this island or whatever, which to me, I keep thinking of the Chimera Ant arc, is something like that is coming.
This is Hunter. We have Hunter at home a little bit.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I'm hoping he kind of gets blown off the fucking island and has to involve some more characters, and we get some more, characters that people can actually like say, oh, I like this character better, or this is my new favorite character. Because now he might actually, now that people will know he's an S rank or whatever, and which is not a spoiler because I think we already knew that like long ago. Now that people know that he's that level, I wonder if he'll have to involve some other characters and make some friends that are actually a little stronger that he can lean on and get involved. He can't really get that construction worker guy, the construction company kid involved. He's just gonna get murked right away. So, you know what I'm saying? I think they need to get some more characters involved.
I mean, there are characters, but I challenge anyone other than probably Otaku Cop to name more than two that aren't summons.
Go ahead. Let's see it. Otaku Cop.
That's the point. I mean, I'm sure he could, but that's about it.
Can you?
Uh-oh.
I can't name them by...
What, characters in the show?
Yeah.
Park something.
Oh, no.
Ming is the S-rank healer. Chanhei is the strong blonde female.
She's the one that don't like people because they stanky.
Yes, she doesn't like their smell.
A Claymore looking
what
girl.
I'll say is this.
But that's it. Oh, that was only two. That's the point. They leave such a little impression that it's really hard to even remember their names. It doesn't help that they're Korean and we're not necessarily used to that. But
their names are a little harder to remember than like Japanese names.
They're much
Maybe because
harder.
we're just not used to it.
Well, there is Chairman Go. There's Jean Woo, who's Jin-Oh, who's Jin Woo's sister.
No, her name is Jean Ah.
Jean Ah. I'm sorry.
See?
But there are other people whose names are memorable enough. They're close enough to either his name or they're simple enough, but they just don't leave much of an impression.
And then there's Jean Ho, his friend, brother.
Oh my God.
Guy.
Yes.
His brother.
Yeah, the names are hard. I can't remember their names. I couldn't even remember the main character's name, but I can remember. But I know I can remember a lot of characters in the show, like for example, the leader of the the gray-haired guy that's the leader of one of the guilds. Like, I obviously can remember him, but I can't remember the names.
Chairman Go.
Yeah, go there it is.
Who I think
Goonhei Go. So
he's a gooner.
He is a gooner.
yeah, he be cooming.
Big goomer.
He's a coomer.
Yeah.
So
I think we could get probably into
you want to
spoilers.
go to spoilers? All right.
Yeah,
Stuck a little
definitely.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god.
Which the biggest spoiler probably would be talking about the scene with his mother, which
I think so too.
I want to bring up before we get into it. The dub for that scene was actually written by Alex Lee because he wrote lines that he knew when he heard them back would emotionally break him. There's like a behind the scenes video of him hearing that audio for the first time and he just starts bawling. So another little touch from the dub that I want to throw out there.
I remember watching that scene. I was in the sauna, sweaty. And it did touch me, I think, and I was surprised because he just cares about his mother so much, and having his goals come to fruition like that was really like, I don't know, it's like, I think he cried, and it's something about seeing like a strong character get emotional like that. It makes me feel a little emotional, and yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a one-dimensional anime. Yeah, it's a bunch of like, oh, look at Big Daddy Jin Woo coming in, with his big dick. But then it's like, oh, it can pivot and bring something emotional to the table too, and that's,
arguably the two main characters in the show are Jin Woo and his mom, and now she's alive. So, yeah, I thought it was touching as hell.
Touching as hell.
As far as this show goes, because it was like, oh, okay, so we get a little bit of something other than Jin Woo being OP, and it was really nice, and I liked the whole, the anxiety he felt with her being back and like what's happening next and having her back and him feeling through those emotions. So it was nice to get that out of Jin Woo by bringing his mother back. And I don't know.
I will say, having read it, it definitely resonated more watching it. Like, even though the manhwa, incredibly popular, it really kind of, that moment is kind of rushed through reading it, but you felt it so much more watching it. And that definitely is probably the most touching moment of the whole season. Outside of one other thing, which was when he arised Ming, and he didn't even have to order him. He just knew exactly what to do. And then he lets him go into the afterlife after that.
See, I kind of hated that.
Why? Why would you hate that?
It's because it almost sugarcoats one of the more interesting things that they can do with him. Because he is in the beginning, he arises iron, right? It's a big deal. He killed someone and now has made them his permanent slave. It affects him in the beginning. They go pretty fast through it, but they do actually mention it as like a sticking point, and it's a kind of this thing where it's like, this is a big deal. And then at the end, he just does it as to get out of jail free, one of the things that would have been a loss. And also everyone just kind of accepts it as, yeah, no big deal. He just did that. I don't know. It was one of the moments that, while I get why they did it, I really did not like it.
I mean, I think it was important for them to do it the way that they did it because his best friend did not want him to be a shadow soldier. And you could see it in his eyes. He was like, please don't do this. And I think it really hammered home, like, this dude was the best healer, arguably, that ever lived. And as soon as he was arisen, he did what he was supposed to do, and Jingwoo just let him fade off into the afterlife. And I thought that was actually very touching. I thought it was a beautiful moment in a show that is largely dominated by action scenes. So I think it's just a difference of opinion. You might have hated it. I thought it was important, and I liked it.
Look, totally fair. Totally fair. I mean, I think just some other stuff that I found interesting with this show is the fact that they do try to add a bit where they can. again, sorry to harp on the dub stuff, but this is more of a dub thing where they would take lines from the manhwa, scenes from the manhwa that were cut from the sub and try to sneak them back in. And it gives Sun Jin-woo actually more character and more humanity that he is lacking in the sub version. There's jokes that are thrown in that are there to not just be funny, but also make him more of a person. Like in the Red
him.
Gate. Yeah, humanize him. Thank you. In the Red Gate, when that guy is like, "Oh, I'm gonna count to 3, and when I get to 3, you better tell me who did this." And in the dub, he counts to 4 on top of it when he hits him, which is missing from the sub. A joke from the manhwa that was gone. Or even at the end of the season, when he is talking to Chairman Go on the phone, where he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna need permission to go stop this gate," and Go is like, "Yeah. Who do you think you're talking to? The guy who runs the show." And it's this moment where they actually get to have like a back and forth that they have more in the manhwa, where they are friendlier and they have more of a relationship that's cut for time in the show, but they have kind of snuck it back in.
Yeah, those are things that I just don't pick up on because I have pretty much just watched this one-dimensional dub. So, but I appreciate the insight there. It's nice that they do stuff like that. I mean, they're trying to humanize him. They're trying to make him, the writing is trying to make him a little more than what most of these other, isekai power fantasy shows are. And I think that's nice. I hope they continue to do that.
Yeah, even with the arises, like when he arises someone in the dub, they all have their own unique sound effect to it. Like it sounds different for each specific character that he does it for. In the sub, it's the same sound every time.
I also like that he can be kind of arrogant and kind of confident when he wants to be. Like when he's standing up to some of the other, some of the other S ranks. Like I think there was a scene where the guy was questioning him as he came out of the gate, and it was like, who do you think is the person that saved all these other people? And he doesn't give in to the guilds right away. He's willing to resist their offers because he knows he's worth it. And he has his own goals, and he's not going to sell out for money. So, that also gives him a little more of a slightly more character depth. I think the whole guild thing is kind of interesting. I hope it doesn't devolve into like a My Hero Academia, here's all the superheroes, and I don't know. I hope it doesn't
That would require the other characters to be interesting.
Well, maybe they will become interesting, because that whole guild thing doesn't pop up until the last 3-4 episodes. So, they didn't have much time with it.
More than anything, what you'll kind of want to focus on, they only introduced bits and pieces of them, but the national hunters is where it's going to be going, and that you guys want him to interact with people kind of on his equal or making friends or being challenged more. The national hunters will be it has to be where the next season goes, and I won't spoil anything, but that's where it's headed.
Speaking of which,
the guy from China, the guy from the US, there's people there.
Also Sun Jin-woo's daddy.
Bro needs to brush his hair.
Him. I can't. I would be spoiling so much if I even remotely touched on that, and I won't do that.
Speaking of which, it's going to be a while before we get to the next season. I think they said it's probably not coming until 2027.
Yep.
Oof.
And
yeah, that's a long wait.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I mean, I hope it's not. I hope it doesn't become a year between seasons. Maybe they'll give us, 2 back-to-back cores when it comes back. I don't really know what they're planning, but yeah, it's gonna be a while. For people listening, yeah, it's gonna be at least a year from now. Probably it's gonna be longer than that, maybe a year and a half before you get more solo leveling. So we'll have to see.
The only other thing I wanted to bring up with the story is, what do you guys think of the system? Because I thought I would find it so dumb with the video gamification, but for whatever reason, I find it oddly fascinating, like how the monsters have this like thought in their head that's just beamed into it that they have to kill the humans, and for some reason, Sun Jin-woo doesn't like trigger that, or how they'll have like these weird glitches. I don't know. It fascinates me for some reason, and I can't put my finger on why.
I don't love the video gamification of anime. I'm kind of over it at this point. But I think it has something to do with Sung Jin-woo's dad. I don't think that he is totally human, or his dad's like gamed the system somehow. So they're not registered the same. Like, he's sus in some kind of way, and there's more to know about that. And we're going to need more breadcrumbs to put that together, and I think we'll get to it. I do like that portion of it, but I'm so over, like, you have a quest, you get a key, you are leveling up. Like, I'm just so over, like, the video game, like, menus popping up in anime. I just...
Yeah. Though I will say it was very funny when, like, a little bit of a fourth wall break when he gets the key and he's like, "Oh, great, another key." Like, even
I
the
did
show
like
knows
that. That was funny.
Do they ever explain? Because I haven't seen the first season of this in a while. I mean, did they ever explain like where these gates come from? Like why? Like what the deal is with these monsters? Like are they ever gonna try
Nabi.
Are they ever gonna try to stop it as opposed to just trying to address the threat? Like
we got to get the bugs first.
You know what's going to be
down the line.
You know what's going to be interesting, and I know we're getting off topic here, and I want to score this and wrap things up, but you know they've got an economy built out of this stuff. They're mining, they're getting items, you know, resources. It's going to be interesting if they decide they can figure out how to stop this entirely, and to see I wonder if there is possibly a political upheaval going to happen where one group wants them to stay because they've built an economy around it, and some people want it to stay because they have powers that they can utilize for their own benefit. You know, I wonder if that's going to pop up. I have no idea, but
at this point, it's kind of like social media in a way. Like now we have it. There's no way you're going to be able to take it away. I feel like that's kind of the same kind of thing that people in this world are going to run into. You can't completely take that away because people have like a living based off of it, and everybody's so engrossed into it, and it's a whole system on its own. So I think that's interesting. I think that's an interesting thing to think about for this show.
You guys have any more thoughts?
We do see it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, well, we do see it a little bit at the end with the Japanese hunters, right? Where they're like, "Oh, great, their S ranks are going to get killed, so we've decimated the military of a rival country." So it does start to come in.
The only thing I'll add is that you guys are asking the right questions. What you should be thinking of is, why does the system exist at all? Who made it?
Yeah.
And why?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, where do they all come from? Like, these gates, they pop up, but where the fuck are they coming from? I mean, what's the story with that? Like, I don't think they ever touched on it.
They don't. It's going to be explained further down the line.
You've got to wait. It's
God, we're going to wait a long fucking time.
Or you could go on Tapas and read it to its completion, like I did.
Reading.
I know, we got
reading
non-readers on here.
Bro, I'm from West Virginia. Hey, I read a whole book on the airplane the other day. It's kind of a short book. All right, I'm going to score it.
I'm handicapped, so I feel like I'm being attacked personally.
I don't know how you made it through med school. Can't read.
Yeah.
It was very
Braille.
difficult.
Touch and go.
Yeah. To me, this is about the same score as the first season. I think it's a little better, but ultimately I think I'm going to stick with the score. I don't know. It's tough. I really like Solo Leveling. I think it's a strong ass shonen. I'm torn between a 4 and a 4.5, honestly. I'm gonna stick with a 4. I need to see more narrative. I want to see a little more narrative, and I want to see consistency in the other areas, and then I'll give it a 4.5. So, but for now, I'm sticking with a 4. 4 at more episodes. I want to see that fucking like demon girl in. What the hell is that girl's name?
Radish?
Esso Radiru. I want more of her. She was good for the episode she was in. I thought they were gonna like have a romance or something, but it never really happened. Otaku Cop's like, she coming back, and
Look at him.
She gonna
You can
slide
read
into
his
his
face like a
DMs.
book.
Yeah.
No, so what I will say is this: there is a parody account on TikTok called Sister Leveling, and they basically overdub things, and it is.
I'll look it up after this for you.
It's well worth your watching because it's fucking hilarious.
My little social media gremlin. Thank you, Pancake. Go ahead.
I'm up.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I will give this a 3 out of 5.
Wow, it was a 2 this morning.
I said 2.5.
Oh, did you?
I don't think it's terrible. I just think it's a shonen. I don't think it's anything special, really. The animation's good. The characters are lacking. The narrative for right now, as it stands, is lacking. And I've watched 2 seasons now in a week. It's an easy watch. So I'll give it a 3, so slightly above mid, okay? Slightly above the midpoint. Give it 3 daggers out of 5.
Otaku Cop.
So, this anime accomplished something that very few do for me, which was I wanted there to be a next episode at the end of an episode. You know, it finished and I was like, God damn it, I want that next episode now. You know, it is a visual tour de force. It is something that is easy to digest. And I think its impact as being an entry-level anime for a lot of new people can't be understated. And I personally have rewatched the second season 3 times now.
Wow.
Because once I got my big bad new TV, I had to rewatch it. Yeah. But I am going to give this 4.5 Shadow Soldiers out of 5.
Nice.
I only rewatched it once, so I guess I'm a fake fan. I'm going to quote my lovely wife when it comes to this anime, and what she says is Solo Leveling is schlop, but man, do I love me some schlop. It's fun, it's bingeable, it is pure entertainment. Are there some parts that are lacking? Yes. Is this going to be, something that's going to tickle the brain, make you think? Maybe a tiny bit, but really this is all about just being fun. In my heart of hearts, I would want to give this show more like a 3.5, but because of how goddamn good that dub is, I'm going to bump my score up to 4 other anime that should have won Anime of the Year out of 5.
Good one.
All right, so that's like probably a 4 on average, yeah. All right. Well, that's the review of Solo Leveling, and that's our show for today. So stay tuned because I will be dragging Pancake through a hentai episode here. Some quick hentai mud to torment her, and she will...
different kind of schlop.
That's right. But hey, for those of you
Schlop.
for those of you that are at home listening, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the podcast, and thanks to Raggedy Doctor and Otaku Cop for being great co-hosts today.
It was so fun podcasting with you two.
Let's see, what are we doing
so
next
happy
week?
to be back.
Next week on the podcast, we are going to be doing...
Who's on the docket?
Well, next week we've got Mason, Andrew, and Lady Emery will be on the podcast to talk about media literacy and anime, and they're going to be reviewing Zenshu. So tune in next week for that, and then the following week we have our summer anime selections, so that's coming upon us real soon here. So
And my happy wedding review.
that's right. It's time to start thinking about the summer. So we will see you guys next time. Until then, take care, and what would Steve Bloom say? Stay gold. That's right. Toodles.
Bye.
Love y'all.